You've probably noticed by now that your PE set consists of 4 personality elements, and now I'm going to briefly explain what each one of them means. The first element in your PE set represents our fundamental nature and inner essence. It's like our inner stuffing, our inner character. And this is how we behave, the very core of our actions, such as a typical approach in some actions. Our fundamental nature is exactly what the first main personality element describes. Therefore, when we say from now on, oh, you are the air, you are the fire, I am an air person, I am an earth person, we are referring to our first element in the set. Even if the other elements of your PE set are entirely different, it doesn't matter. The foundation of your actions, your fundamental nature, is still defined by the first PE. It provides support for action and for life in general. Very often we ignore it for one reason or another. Often we don't like it. Why not, though? Because we believe it is our defect, that we moving slowly if our nature is inert. In any way, we will get to this part a little later. Or we think we are too emotional, or we do not like something else about us, and we stop relying on our nature by not accepting ourselves. That's why it's important to rely on the first element, and we're definitely going to work on that. Also, if we use the car as an analogy, the first PE is its technical parameters. By that I mean that it can be a car with a powerful engine with super big wheels, or on the contrary, with small wheels. It might be a rocket, a heavy tank, or even a limousine. Basically, these are the technical parameters of the car. Next, the second PE. What does the second PE show? If the first PE is the technical parameters of our car, then the second element is where that car is going to. That is our actions which come from the first PE, our focus this direction. Where do we direct our actions? Towards what? What are our objectives? Essentially, it serves as both our destination and the goal of our actions in general. Again, I will repeat myself. The first PE is the real action because it could go like this. I think I am such and such. It happens often, especially in psychological tests. For instance, in a test, you need to choose between innovator or conservative. I am an innovator, you say. Do you buy a lot of new things? Yes, I do. But in real life, you ask your close circle and your mother, your wife or husband, they say, you've got to be kidding. He is not innovative. He always goes on vacation to the same hotel. He buys the same bread all the time. He visits the same places, restaurants, the same cafes, orders the same dish all the time. Even when there's a buffet, he chooses the same thing all the time. What kind of innovator is that? It turns out that your actions in real life are not innovative, but for some reason you think that you are an innovator. You compare yourself to somebody else, or you think that you should be like this. So the first PE is real action, how things really happen. The second PE is aspiration. Later we will have the video about it with examples. Now for the third one. The third PE is the nature of our mind, our way of thinking, our perception. So it can be analytical for one person, creative for another. It can be bright, sharp, and generally very different for everyone. We'll talk about that later as well. And so it turns out that if the first PE is I do it like this, then the third PE is I know how things should be done, or the things, people, world should be at all. But it doesn't mean that I am doing so myself. Just like in the example with the test before, the third PE shows our perception and therefore it triggers our emotions, both positive and negative. For this reason it's called the emotional PE. We will talk about that a lot. You will learn many amazing things about you. Continuing with the car analogy, the third PE is our preferred driving style. Let's say I'm convinced I drive like a racer, that I'm an amazing driver. If I have a tank, and yet my third PE is fire, then I drive my tank like a rocket. I want to have a rocket. If I have this rocket driving style, then I can ruin my tank because I will try to accelerate it to rocket speed. I think I'm traveling on a rocket, but in reality it's a tank. As a result, it turns out that it's not moving and constantly braking. And I will be annoyed because I want to go faster and faster, but it won't go. That's why it's very important to rely on your nature to finally see that you have a tank. Therefore, you need to drive it like a tank. That's the right way. Later, we will learn how and where to apply the third PE. Next. That is the way we interact with people, the way we realize ourselves with people. The first PE mostly is active when we are by ourselves. Once there are people involved, most often we turn on our social role. That is if we want to interact with them, of course. If we don't want that, we will try to avoid them acting according to the first PE nature. This thing will make more sense to you later. It may sound rather abstract right now. I will show how it works. So the fourth PE is the social role, our natural role with people. And because professions involve social implementation, it's crucial to take that into account. The entire PE set is important for choosing a profession, but social interaction is very important in our occupation. Next, back to the car analogy. The fourth PE would be the special purpose of our car. That is what it is for, how we use it with people. For example, someone drives people as a taxi or bus, someone as a fire truck, rescues people, someone as a race car. The details depend on your personal mission. Your PE set and your inner mission are the essence of your vocation, but more on that later. We will discuss the characteristics of each personality element, PE, and how these can vary depending on whether they are associated with water, air, earth, or fire. More details and examples from life of active, inert, emotional, rational, soft, hard types, and so on.